This is Join Joel. If you're looking for polished business stories, you're in the wrong place. The most polished intro for the most unpolished podcast ever.
Bring me seat in a bit more because
You're all right.
I'm good. Okay, lovely.
Don't panic. It's not that. Despite appearances, it's not that professional. We're above the execution room, so in a second you'll hear like tour guides and stuff talking about
Lovely.
things like that.
Okay. Is it haunted in here?
Yeah, I don't know if this bit gets too haunted. Do you find ghosts up here, Jordan? No, I think because we're above the execution room. So this was like an attic originally, and then it was archives. So this used to be filled with shelves, and it had all the prisoner files in here.
Oh, wow.
And we stripped it out, thinking, it's the end of the building, it's dark, there's no natural light, it'd be a great studio. And yeah, it's like Dubai, it's so hot.
Maybe it's a studio.
Yeah, it's okay. But yeah, as I say, Jordan's got so much footage of me, of just even last week when we were recording bits in PTAD, was crazy, the amount of language that comes out between each cut where it just goes wrong at a start, it goes wrong, it goes wrong. So, you said you went into Shrewsbury for your meeting. What did you guys go in and do?
Where did we go? We went to just the cafe over the road from the station.
Oh,
so we just had a marketing meeting.
Oh, cool.
What was it called, Joe?
Shrewsbury Coffee House.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really inventive.
So what was your marketing meeting like then this morning?
A marketing meeting. So we're having a monthly meeting now.
Yeah.
Now I'm not in the business. Kat and Joe are sitting with me and just going through what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they literally just update you in terms of what campaigns they're running?
Blogs, yeah. So blogs, events, newsletter, what content they need from me, what content they need from the team. So they're planning a monthly event in advance.
Okay.
So yeah.
So when did you step out of the business in terms of, and how's that looked?
2 weeks ago. How's that look? I'll tell you in a year.
Yeah. So for you, like, because that was not dissimilar for me. So stepping out, what does that mean for you? What does that look like different day to day?
It's scary to start with because when you go from a business that's named after your kids, so Marshall Harmony is the children's middle names, to kind of being told what's happening, being told what interviews are on, being told what clients are being kind of onboarded. It's weird, but it means that I can get out and promote the business more, network, speaking in the right rooms in my industry. I think that's not just being in rooms I'm invited into because people want me there. Being in rooms I need to be in because we'll benefit as a business. Yeah.
So do you see that moving out of the business and moving out of the day to day and into business development? Into like business growth?
Yeah, business growth. So what we've decided, because we brought Sabrina on, who obviously you've been chatting to, who's
that
amazing.
Lady. Yeah.
She's fab. Yeah, no, she's only been with us since January, and I think I said to you, and she's my biggest ROI at the moment. 100%. She's amazing.
I'm sure we will talk about her today. I will talk you through my experience of Sabrina, but yes, I would agree. She was, she absolutely bowled me over. Normally when people approach me like that on LinkedIn, I'm just like, go, no. Yeah. But yeah, she came in a completely different
got the right emotional intelligence, and she knows how to talk to people and to get them on board. And she came from a client actually. So that it was a client that said to me, you need to employ this lady. And I've just employed Kat. So Kat started in October, November, I think it was. And I was drunk on holiday and couldn't get Sabrina out of my head. That's literally. And she wanted part-time. Nobody wanted part-time. Yeah. And I spoke to my accountant, and he just said, "Can you give your head a wobble?" Yeah. So haven't looked back. So we've gone from me at my kitchen table to 7 of us. So,
and I always say that anybody I think that starts their own business, I take my hat off to them because it's so hard. Yeah. And anybody that grows and then starts employing people, and when I say employing people, beyond employing like a husband or a wife or a partner for a tax efficient purpose. Yeah. Absolutely, I take my hat off to them because it's so hard. Even people I don't like, which is plenty of business owners I know that I don't like, I'm like, I still respect you for doing it though, because it's so difficult.
It is tough. Yeah. No,
and if it brings you any kind of comfort and reassurance, Sabrina I thought was amazing. She was absolutely amazing. When I went through the journey with her, I sat there going, I would 100% employ that person without a shadow of a doubt. And actually, when I think about what we've probably just the 2 people that you've recruited for us, which obviously how we knew each other, just that spend in terms of from going through our process with us will start to showcase why
Yeah.
she's such a smart hire. And actually, we're kind of copying her a little bit because we've changed the way our business development's working.
Yeah.
That's why I like speaking to other business owners, because that's a really good idea. Let's copy that.
But it is getting ideas, and I think I was doing too much. I was very poorly last year, and I crashed completely. And it wasn't just the business. I was producing a show. I was doing, all sorts of different things. And I realised where I wanted to be in my business. And I love selling. I can sell ice to the Eskimos. I can build relationships. I can open those doors. But I can't be everywhere. And I just think having somebody like Sabrina, who has got a lot of my characteristics in being able to have those conversations, it has enhanced the business. I've got Jess and now Lois. Jess is dynamite. Jess is amazing. Jess I worked with previously, and Jess, from a kind of candidate point of view and a client management point of view, she's incredible. You wouldn't have come across Jess because the roles that you had were commercial.
Yeah.
So obviously at that time I was dealing with them with some support with Kat because I was on holiday during some of the process. And it'll be Lois moving forward. I know, how dare I know. I was still like WhatsApping.
I was going to say, you weren't actually on holiday.
Really on holiday.
We were still chatting, wasn't
I knew what was going on. Yeah, no, it's a bit sad really, isn't it? But yeah, so Lois is going to be dealing with the commercial vacancies, but Jess is who I see being me in the future. Jess is the person I see taking over my business, working alongside Ellie, who again you've had some interaction with.
Yeah,
so Ellie's my ops director, who I promoted in January, February time. Ellie is wonderful. Ellie is my right-hand person. Ellie, we've kind of metamorphosized into one a little bit because I fondly call my ideas brain farts. She phones me and said, I've had a brain fart. And I'm like, we're literally the same person. But no, we're a really good team. We've been nominated for Best Business for the Enterprise Vision Awards, which I can't quite get my head around. But I didn't want it to be about me. It was about me and Ellie. And it's about the team. So that's how, how I see it, because people see recruitment really competitive, dog eat dog, horrible world. But in my business, one of us wins, we all win. There's 7 of us, and it's not that's mine, that's mine, that's mine. Who cares? We're all working together. It's all about martial harmony. It's not about Laura or Lois or Jess or Ellie or Jo or Kat or Sabrina. It's about the business. And that's how, I think that's why we're different. I'm going to take my bracelet off because Jo's going to shout at me at the minute because it's
Jordan will do the same thing.
I can see him looking at me, and it just especially when I get sort of using my hands to talk, but they go.
I get into a flow, and then they say something to me to do something different. I'll do something okay. Now the professionals have got involved. It's like, but
I can see him looking at me with my bracelet.
That's what he said there, because you can see your own team. You can see your team. I can see Jordan. But do you find that dog eat, because that dog eat dog world is so interesting for me, and I've been in loads of different businesses and seen it in different ways, and I've seen it done really, really quite nastily, and I've seen it done, a little bit tamer. But do you think that exists both within the recruitment industry, inside the actual businesses, but also between different recruitment companies?
Yes. Yeah. I'm from high street recruitment.
Yeah.
So I've experienced it. I've experienced people saying, well, that's not your job, because I called them 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Lois has come into my business and she was bringing clients on, but because the job was over a certain value, she wasn't allowed to deal with it.
Yeah.
I took a job yesterday, client she's never dealt with before, client who I've known for 15 years, get on so well with, and straight away I've gone, right, Lois, let's jump on a call tomorrow and we'll take that role properly. And it's a marketing manager, actually. So I gave you some example. So we're going to talk about the problem that they've got, because they're a marketing manager. Why do you need a marketing manager? Because they're going, okay, but you've got 3 other people. What are they doing? What problem are you solving? So breaking it down, and Lois and I are going to jump on that. But I've not gone, I'm working on it because that's my client. We don't work like that. And I think, unfortunately, within recruitment businesses, because it's very competitive, because it's very bonus driven, and because it's very selfish, and I've been that selfish person, 100%, I would hold my hands up. I was top performer at the 2 companies I was at previously. I didn't do that by sitting in a corner. I did that by being quite aggressive and grabbing hold of what was mine. But I wanted to build a business that was different, because I've got, not all of them, but a lot of mums. I've got, Ellie works part-time, Sabrina works part-time, Jess has got 2 kids, I've got 2 kids, mine are older now. but I want to give them what I never had. Do you know what I mean? And I think you add that extra stress of, you've got to hit this target, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Do I want them to make money for my business? Yes. You know, we're going to should triple our turnover this year.
Yeah.
Which is an incredible place to be.
Amazing. Especially in the market at the moment, because you only have to open up LinkedIn and all you see, and then it really made me quite sad earlier this year, and seeing so many people talking about being out of work and being made redundant and losing their jobs and companies downsizing and looking for jobs, and people who've been in the job market for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. People are saying, I don't know how I'm going to pay my mortgage next month. Or that. I saw a post, I think it was yesterday, saying a lady saying she was going to have to sell her car to make the next 2 months worth of rent, and she still didn't have a job and know where to go. And I spoke to somebody who applied for the EA role last year, before Chloe left, so in December, and she just wasn't right for it. She wasn't at a standard where I felt she could deliver what I required, what our company required. And that's really hard, but that's the reality of the situation. But I connected with her on LinkedIn, and I've followed her journey over the last 6 months of just turmoil. And she now has got a job, and I sent her a message to say, "Look, that's really impressive. I think that's testament to what you're doing." And I think it's really hard. So I think for a recruitment company, when all the noise says that actually nobody's employing anybody, to be growing, it's really impressive.
They are employing people. People just don't know what they should be recruiting for. So when I sat...
You did that with me.
I was sat in the House of Lords at the Evers event last week, and I had was it last week? Week before? Last week. I had a big rant because there was a panel that was talking about recruitment, talking about people, and they opened their mouths and said, we've got a resource problem. Nobody wants to work. We've got a skill shortage. Yes, I'd had pins. Yes, I'd had Prosecco, wine and everything else. But Coral, who runs it, said, any recruiters in the room, looked straight at me because she, obviously she knows me. Yeah. And I said, I need to say something. And I did rant. They gave me the confidence, a bit of Dutch courage. But I just said, we haven't got a resource problem. You've got a problem because you don't know what you want. Yeah. And actually you're trying to get something that doesn't exist. So you're trying to hire for a skill you don't need, or you don't actually understand what the problem is you're trying to solve, which is the conversation we had with the marketing role. Yeah. You've got a team, you've got a great team. What do that team actually do? What is this person going to bring to the table? What problem have you got that needs solving that new person needs to solve for you? And I think the more people that start having that conversation, they'll be going, we haven't got a resource problem. We've got people, because we've got so many people that are unemployed that want to work that aren't perfect. So they're not perfect, so let's train them. Joe is fantastic and he's done a great job, but he's not a marketing manager. He's a young lad that's got some experience, and I am putting him through a degree apprenticeship. Yeah. So we're putting him through a BSc honours degree. He's only going to be spending 2 days a week every 12 weeks at uni, but I'm investing in that. So why don't more companies do that? You haven't got the finished article, reuse what you've got. Do you know what I mean? And that's,
Absolutely. I think it's that shift from, I think the way that I look at that is actually a shift from the traditional kind of thinking about managing people as opposed to developing people. The difference between managing and leading people, and leading very much about developing people and getting them to grow, and accepting that when you bring them in, they might not be that finished article, and therefore you've got to develop and you've got to invest and you've got to spend time with them.
Or someone else can. You can power. So that's the other flip side. Yeah. Again, I'll give our business as an example. So obviously Lois has come in. Yes, she's got 8 years experience, but not the Marshall Harmony way. Yeah. I could sit on her, I could train her, and I could work with her. But actually Jess is an incredible advocate of our business. So for me to put Jess in charge day-to-day of Lois, it empowers Jess, gives her that kind of next step up the ladder. And that's what businesses need to do. They need to not be afraid to bring somebody in that probably needs that little bit of knowledge from somebody else. You're never going to be able to start a job and know everything straight away, even if you are the expert.
Yeah, even those people coming in at the 150, 170,000, 200,000 pound a year. Yeah.
They still don't know your business inside and out. Yeah. That you're still going to need probably a 6 month period of learning how you do things. So why not invest in these people that apparently work shy, don't want to work? Do you know what I mean? So
and you see them moving between. I remember the CEO of Merlin when he left Merlin and he went to join, I think, Live Golf.
Right.
It's a completely different industry in a sense, but obviously he was bringing the skills of what they need as a senior, as a very senior leader and stuff like that. But how did the cultural thing, how's the cultural side of Marshall Harmony sort of grow? How did you get to a point where you are now? And has that come from, do you think that's come from naming it after your children? Or has that come from your experience?
I think, 26 years in recruitment makes you quite long in the tooth.
Yeah.
And you see a lot, you hear a lot. I mean, I am literally people's WhatsApp buddy.
Yeah.
If they've got a problem, I tend to know before the rest of the team do, which I'm very proud of and I'm very honoured. And people know if they say something to me, it won't go any further, so I'm that confidant to people. And I take that very seriously. And I think when my husband and I decided to name the company after the children, the reason we did it is we're like, well, what's our why? I walked away from high street recruitment. I walked away from not being able to do the school runs, not being there for my kids growing up. I felt awful about. And then I went under an umbrella because I wasn't brave enough to do it myself. So Gareth and I were sold to under an umbrella, really. And we realised we didn't need that. We didn't need that security net, is what I would call it. And again, I had some health issues at that time, so I was grateful for that 3-year period where it didn't really matter what I did, if that makes sense. I could kind of just sit in that world. I think it was during COVID as well.
So what did the umbrella look like? What was that, sitting under another
so it was a company who had actually recruited me into my last role, and without going into too much detail, it was quite a toxic place where it was. If you read the chapter in the book that I wrote, it's the rise of the female, the rise of the female entrepreneur, I think it was called. So I wrote a chapter in it. I talk about a boardroom incident where I sat in a boardroom with my previous director and felt very uncomfortable with the language that he was using, and basically phoned her and said, get me out of here. She told me it was too expensive now because I'd gone to a certain level within recruitment. And I didn't want to be a director. I wanted to be doing the job. I didn't want to step away. I didn't want that next step. I'm a very, very hands-on person, even now. I went under her umbrella for a period of 3 years, and I called myself Recruitment Pursuits Commercial. So she sort of did the business side of it. Yeah. And then I fed into her with my clients. And it was my coach, Lindsay Meredith, who I'm so grateful for. I've had her as a coach for quite some time now. And she said, well, why are you doing this? Why aren't you doing this yourself? So Gareth and I sat down, and that's when we came up with the children's names. So first was like Davies. Davies, no, that's rubbish, we don't want that. And then we thought Marshall, which is Toby's middle name, marshalling people. Yeah. Harmony, Bella's middle name. Harmonious. And it was going to be HM, but then obviously got HMRC, so we couldn't have done that because it was Bella's the eldest. So it was going to be, but no, Marshall Harmony, that's basically where it came from, a conversation, probably with some wine involved. And we split from Sarah and didn't look back. And it was right for us. And I plodded along. And as I say, we had COVID, obviously, during the time that I was under Recruitment Pursuits Commercial. So it never really did anything, So although on Company's House, it looks like we were a company at that time, I would never count it until the day we started. I did a video on LinkedIn of me singing part of Defying Gravity, Something Has Changed Within Me, as like a little teaser, because I'm a professionally trained singer. So I did that on the Friday night because I didn't tell anyone what I was doing, and then went solo from there. And it was almost from a culture point of view, something ignited in me, and I wanted to do it differently. And I wanted to support businesses in getting the right people who would fit their culture from that way and who would lead their culture from that way, if that makes sense. Because that's what people have to remember. You can't bring somebody in to fit your culture that's a leader. It's not going to happen because they're going to want to embed their own culture. It's really sort of what level you're putting that person in. And then that feeds into values. Values are a lot more than what's on the wall. It's what people would say about you if they sat next to their friend in a pub. Yeah. How they would describe what it's like working for you. And then my own business has been built on that. We're doing a retreat next week, which Kat has organised, where we're doing yoga, we're doing mindfulness through music, all of those kind of things, because I think it's so important, wellness, and having family time and having that downtime as well. So that's how I've built the business, really.
How do you find the split between, because very similar to what you're saying there, I always split everything into three things. It's a bloody PR company that got into 3s, 5s and 7s. But I always look at my kind of business life, or what I'm doing at work and how much time I'm spending at work, what I'm doing for my health and my well-being, and what I'm doing with my family, and those three things.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's even, but more often than not, one of them is getting more time than the other.
It's hard. Yeah. No, it's really, I find that really, I mean, as I said, I have had some health difficulties. I'm also a woman of a certain age going through perimenopause. So, it has, I'm not going to lie, it has been difficult. Yeah. For me, it's so important I maintain what I love doing. Yes, I love my business and I love my family. I need my theatre. I need that part of me to be able to succeed in life. That sounds a bit weird, but that's what I train to do professionally. So if I'm not singing or rehearsing for a play or rehearsing for a concert or doing something, contributing to the arts in some way, then I feel a little bit stagnated in the rest of my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's important.
And I'd seen that. And then actually, so I got introduced to you guys first. And then through those conversations, I saw that you were a professionally trained singer and had gone through drama school and obviously gone through that route, which is a road that I know through my own family's endeavours. But it didn't surprise me at all. It wasn't something I saw. Oh, that really shocks me. I never would have thought that about that person. Yeah, that makes sense. I was like, yeah, I could certainly see that, because I think the thing that really bowled me over, and James and I work very differently, as you know, but really sort of got me quite quickly, was just the whole authenticity of Marshall Harmony, and not just you, but all the guys that I spoke to and all the conversations we had. It just felt very comfortable, and it was very clear from the outset that your team really enjoyed and really passionate about being there, and it wasn't just,
and that means a lot. Yeah,
just doing it because it's their job. There was real passion. You can see it. You just have to look on their individual LinkedIn pages, and you can see how committed they are. And and I think that's really, really good to have. I think that's really important. So I could see that. And I was going to ask you about your take me back to when you did that. So is that something you've always done from
theatre?
From really, really small.
Yeah, I sang before I spoke.
Yeah.
I mean, we were joking about it over the week actually, because I'm working with a friend on a theatre company at the moment, doing some bits and pieces. I think in Shrewsbury, I've been in most theatre companies at some point from when I was younger. Yeah. Bit of a theatre tart, as they would. I seem to know everybody on the theatre scene. Yeah. And then obviously I went away and trained at East 15, did some bits and pieces in London, did some fringe stuff at German Street Theatre. And so, I kind of did a little bit in the West Midlands. I've done stuff in Bridge North. My childhood dream of playing Eliza in My Fair Lady came true 3 years ago, so that was incredible. And then more recently, I directed, and I actually really enjoyed it. Yeah, giving something back. So when I played Eliza, I was so grateful, thinking, this is it. I've reached the pinnacle. Do you know what I mean? I've done what I wanted to do. My friend said to me the other day, since you were 8 years old, that's how long I've been dreaming about doing that, and it came true. And then to give something back, because I'm a trained vocal coach, I was able to not just direct the show, but vocal coach my principals and get them to a certain standard. And I ended up producing it, doing the lighting, the sound, working with them to sort of, basically plot it all out. And it was an incredible experience, seeing it from that point of view, from being a performer. And I enjoy directing. I love performing as well, and doing concerts is great. Doing one in October for a charity. I've just done one for Acorns. So whenever I'm asked to do stuff like that, I absolutely love it, because that's kind of where I can just thrive. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, and I feel that I have the best of both worlds, because I am a trained singer and actress, but I get to sing 3 times with a year with an orchestra. Not many professionals do that anymore. Everything's backing tracks. Yeah. So I sing with the Shrewsbury Light Orchestra. And I get to sing with them, and I get to do different things. So I feel really honoured that I get to do what I trained to do, but I'm still earning money and, you know, providing for my kids and running a really successful business, which I'm also passionate about.
Yeah. Was there a crossroads for you at some point, or was there a journey that took you into recruitment? Because I guess being I'll try to think of the word of it. I always lose my intelligence at this level. But I guess being so confident in that, which is funny because you said earlier that, you know, that speaking potentially
Scares the life out of me.
Yeah, but I imagine when you're on stage,
It's different.
You're
it's
absolutely
character.
fine.
Yeah, it's character. You
No,
ask me to
is that
be
the
somebody.
difference?
That's what it is. I put a mask on. Even when
Okay.
I'm singing a song, I'm acting through song.
Yeah.
I'm not singing as Laura Davis.
Yeah.
So you make me sit. Joe knows what I'm like. I shake. I can't stand it.
So if you had to go up on stage, so you go up on stage, for example, into the theatre, 1,000 people in the auditorium, and you're a character and you're singing,
Could count.
absolutely fine. But if you get introduced then as Laura Davis and you have to go out and then,
I'd be
So-
against the wall.
would you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable, and that's something I'm working on. I'm doing a course later this year,
Yeah.
so that's quite exciting. You know, that I've been told I should be able to use my theatre stuff to be able to have that, but I don't want to come across as actress mode. I want to come across authentically as me, and I think I do. Like when I'm chatting to people normally, I do. And if I could be like I'm talking to you now on a stage of people, great, but I can't. I just go into, what am I going to say? Do you know what I mean? I literally, and then I start second guessing myself and overthinking it. And a lot of people don't get it. But I think it is. I think it is because, I mean, what was I doing last week? So we're presenting the award for sustainability for the Scottish Chamber, because you're joining us on our table. And I was doing a video, but they had it on a teleprompter, and I was reading it, and to start with, I kind of went into BBC mode. It's like, and I'm really proud to be, I don't talk like that, you know, but I went into what I thought they wanted.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, which Joe agreed, I was chatting like I am now. It's natural and normal. But I have to, it is the overthinking, and
I totally hear that, and it's something that I guess I must have gone through at some point. It feels so long ago now that I can't quite get it, but I get that, and I hear that a lot, and I think that sometimes people will say the reason they struggle to talk, because they can talk in boardrooms with their teams, they can talk in groups, and absolutely fine. They can talk to customers, all those kind of things. But you put them onto a stage of, whether it's 10 people, 50 people, 500 people, to present something about the company or their industry they know loads about, they're fans of knowledge. And suddenly it's like, whoa, hold on. It's just like, but you're just talking about stuff you know. And I think a lot of people will always say, and certainly I do get this, but in slightly different areas, is that imposter syndrome.
It is imposter syndrome. No, I know it is. Yeah.
Am I good enough to be here?
And it's people pleasing.
Oh, okay.
It's a mix. It's what are they thinking of me? Am I worthy of doing this?
Yeah.
I know. I know there are people that look up to me and think, "Oh gosh, she's achieved a lot." I'm like, I'm just getting on with my job. So I think it is that imposter. I think a lot of it is the imposter syndrome. But I'm getting a lot better. A lot better. But I'd say to you, if you haven't done acting or singing before, how would you feel about being a character on a stage?
Yeah.
You probably feel very different to being you on a stage.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I acted a small amount when I was younger, so for me, I just loved it. My mum and my aunt went to the Royal Ballet School, so they were professional dancers, and then they started their own dance company before I was born. So I grew up.
You've grown up around it.
I grew up.
So
with a
you're
mum that was
fine,
a
but
business owner.
some people might,
ran her own company. So I saw it, and she was a single mum as well. So I saw all of that kind of going on. I was part of it. So I was very fortunate. I learned that kind of from a very, very young age. But I can absolutely see that. And I think that that's why I get in trouble for saying things I shouldn't say about people. I always have to check myself. But Kieran, for example, who we spoke about earlier, who's in our marketing, so confident. He can talk into a room about what he's doing. But he's been doing a public speaking course. He's been doing a Toastmasters, I think it is, and going through that. And I watched him do a presentation because he does loads of stuff on equestrians. So he's a massive, massive horse guy. And he was doing a talk a couple of years ago now, and he was so nervous about doing it, which was crazy because he knows it so well. It's that public speaking. And actually, over the journey of what he's been doing, he's got so much better. And he went and did one the other day with our sales manager for a college, talking about what he does as a job and talking about Code Group and everything like that. And he was still really nervous about it. even though he's talking to 16, 17, 18-year-olds that want to be where he is in sort of 6-7 years' time. So really put him on a pedestal. And that's a struggle, but he absolutely smashed it. And I think it's like everything in life, though, isn't it? It's doing it.
It's stop overthinking. I think and I know what it is. And as I say, this course that I'm going to be doing, it's a lady called Amy Keane. I can't think what it's called. What's it called? Loudmouth or something like that. I met
That's a great name.
Like that, isn't it, Joe? I think. Yeah, something like that. There's a lady called Amy Keane on LinkedIn, and it looks a good shout. Good shout.
Yeah. Loudmouth would be so much better. They should change their name. They should certainly change their name to Loudmouth.
I'll have to just chat and tell her. But yeah, she's got really good reviews from it. So and she's been sort of chatting to me. So yeah, I think that'll be.
Do you find the nerves creep into that? Do you get nervous before you go on stage when you're doing a performance?
I do at the beginning, but it's a different kind of nerves because I know that I've nailed it and I've got it and I know what I'm doing. Yeah. So that's very different. Do you know what I mean? Because you rehearse.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very good at getting my script down very quickly, becoming that character and having that as part of me. Yeah. I think a lot of it is learning what I'm going to be talking about rather than having a script. I think maybe if I do away with the script and have the slides and use them as prompts rather than actually write what I'm going to say, I'd probably be a lot more natural.
Yeah.
So I think that probably is, where I would need to go with presentations because, apparently I'm going to be on 50 stages in a year, according to Tom Flood.
You know that's one a week?
Yeah, no, I'm aware. Okay. I'm aware. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is classed as a stage, actually, because it's going on...
I mean, look, one a week is that's a task. Like, that is a task. You're going to be doing matinees and evening performances. And, you're going to be traveling. Your travel cost is going to go up.
I've been asked to speak at the UK Metals on their main stage, but also within their skills sections. That's 2 already, and I've already done about 4, I think, so far. So
I love public speaking. I wouldn't just do that, but I would be very happy doing that just because I'm happy talking. The bit that I find, I guess strange, right? I haven't quite got into yet, and maybe I've reserved myself from doing it, is how to do it, because I kind of feel like I want to get to a stage where people just go, oh, we want somebody for this. That's the person to go to. That's the person that we should call. But when you start looking at things like public speaking and about yourself out, you need to either do it yourself or you have a PR company or marketing, whoever it is doing it. And therefore you're kind of fishing for it. And I was like, I kind of want to go and speak somewhere because they've asked me to do it rather than us going, hey, do you want this person to
which I'm starting to get that. The Metals Expo, because obviously that's my industry, really. A lot of what we do is manufacturing and engineering, not all of. But mind you, you've got metal bars, haven't you? So, it matches.
So many bars.
It matches.
We've got more bars than Wetherspoons.
Well, there you go. But, Joe, bless him, has set up lauradavis.com, which Friday Life.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, you'll have to have a look at it. It looks really good. But he's got about speaking on there and put Kat as the contact. So I think that'll help, if we start marketing from that point of view. And I am getting people actually ask me, when I'm at certain places, we're doing some links with Alfed, the Aluminium Federation. Yeah. So she's asked me to speak at the next event. We've obviously joined with the Chamber. They've already asked me to speak at their events. So it seems to be when I'm networking and engaging with people now, they're like, oh, can you do this? And where I used to go, absolutely not, run away, I'm going, yes, I'll do it.
What's your thoughts on networking?
You've got to be in the right spaces. Yeah. So I love networking when it's with people where I can make an impact.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot to share. I look at recruitment very differently to most people, perfectly aware of that. But I need to be in the right rooms to share it, if that makes sense. Yeah. So obviously a lot of what we do is manufacturing and engineering because of where we're based. We are a specialist in a way, but we don't shy away, as you know, from working with other companies. So at the end of the day, if it's a person we can get our head around the role and we can add value, we'll recruit it. But when I'm in the right rooms where I feel I can make that impact, like the Evas, when they were saying there was that skills shortage, and I could then say, that was a networking event. I'm going to a networking event tomorrow. I'm going to Smart Manufacturing, Subcon. I think there's another one. There's a few under one roof. But I like to go with people I know, so that they can wheel me out and feel comfortable and introduce. Once I'm introduced to somebody, I'm absolutely fine. I'm not that person that will go up to somebody and go, hi, I'm Laura, and I feel very uncomfortable. So I like to be introduced. Do you know what I mean? And you should work with these people.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, personally, I'm not a massive fan of networking. It's just a personal thing, and I totally get it, and I understand all the benefits. And my team do it, and our sales team do it, and our marketing team do it, and they get loads of benefits from it. And I get all of that. Personally, I just don't like it. I think there's something about it. It was the same with me for PR. It took me years to start using PR agencies because I got stung with one very early on in my business career. So after that, I was like, I'm never using PR again. And once I'm in my head, I'm like, no, never doing it again. It took a long, long time until we used it. And actually, we used Zen Communications, which is Fliss.
Yeah.
So we used them, and that was a strong journey. We still use them, but yeah, I think it's bringing value into the room, but also having the value in the room. So when I first started networking sessions, my first experience on it, certainly my first business, was going to like the breakfast meetings with the local Federation of Business Groups and stuff like that. It was very much right. So you come in, you get a name tag, you put your tag on, you sit down, you have breakfast, you speak to people, and then everybody will say kind of who they are, and then every breakfast, exactly that, do your elevator pitch, and then every time somebody different will stand up and talk, or a sponsor might come and talk 15 minutes. So you have, somebody from a bank, or somebody from a solicitors, or somebody from a tax process, or an accountant, or whatever it might be. And I just, at the time, my first company, I was trying to grow, my first business, I was trying to grow a national wellness company, a national employment wellness company. So I was trying to think huge. I was going to places like Bupa and Network Rail and Tesco's, huge employers. And I was sat in this room, and that was, Steve, the local electrician, saying, well, I can do some electrics, and I do this. And then there was a plumber, and there was accountants, and there was tax specialists, and somebody for wills. And I was just constantly like, oh, have you got your will yet? I was like, no, I haven't got a will. So, you come speak to me, I'll do your will. I was like, dude, I literally have nothing to leave anybody, and I have nobody to leave it to anyway. Why do I need will? No, come speak to me about your tax and your pension. All that, dude. I'm not thinking about pensions at all. And, when you get an office, come speak to me about this, or if you need. So I just didn't find any value to it. And I was sat there kind of going, I'm looking for companies that have at least 2,500 staff upwards, and nobody in this room has anywhere near that. So I was like, it didn't.
It's being in the right rooms, and that's what we've decided. Yeah. So we're looking at kind of all the different events that we're doing, and making sure I'm in the right rooms, and not just attend. I mean, I've attended stuff like that before, and I give more than I get, and that's what I find. There's certain events that we go to, and I do go to add some value. Where I'm going, and I'm like, well, I've given all of this. What have I got back from it? What have I got from my day? And I'm not a selfish person, so I'll give anything to anyone. Do you know what I mean? I'm very supportive of other businesses, but when it's taking it out of your time, so we make sure that as much as we can, I'm in the right rooms, and I think that's what the key is to networking.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And that's going to be one of the things that I'm going to try and shift over the next 12, 18 months, is doing more of those sessions and really kind of going out there with less of a, what am I going to get from this, and kind of what can I actually give to this? Mm-hmm. And it was just, like you say, sort of in the wrong routes, because I've been in other sessions where actually it's worked really well, and you bump into the right person, you have those kind of conversations, and actually something might drop down the line.
Yeah.
And then, but I think that it was just, for me, it was just, I was trying to do something very different. I really, really struggle not to think big. Whenever somebody tells me about their business, I'm like, oh my God, I'm just seeing global aspirations. And I just can't think small. It really, really is a real problem.
Whereas I'm the opposite. I don't want Marshall Harmony to be this huge. Like, my husband would have franchises everywhere. We'd be global. Whereas I'm
franchises.
I love what we've got. What we've got, I'm a control freak. I'm in control of. Not so much now, but do you know what I mean? I'm backing away, but it's my way, and it's what I've built. What would that look like if it was a franchise?
You're stepping away from that now, right?
I am starting to, so who knows what will happen in the future. But I'm not one of these people that's like, I want to do this. I set the business up so that I could give my children the best start in life. Yeah. And I feel like I have.
So is that the why? Was that the why?
Yeah, 100%.
So when you started the business, your kids were how old?
So when I stepped away was 7 years ago. Yeah. So Bella was 11, so about to go to secondary school. and Toby was 7.
Yeah.
So for me, we wanted to send them through the private school route.
Yeah.
Because we felt, for us as a family, my husband had an amazing education in private school. I went to the local comp and hated school, and I don't look back at my school years with joy.
You enjoyed drama though.
Yeah, well, I did, but away from school.
Yeah.
Away from that. I had, so many classes I was part of out of school. That was great. It was the actual, schooling. And I wanted to replicate my husband's journey for the children. And Bella's just finished. And they've had she's had the most incredible experience. She's doing her A-levels at the moment. She's got her last one next week, hoping to go to Leeds University and do journalism. Toby is a bright little thing. Don't know where he's got it from, Gareth, not me. But, he's very like maths and science and even English as well. He's both ways in terms of creative and, very clever. And that's not, by accident. We've nurtured them. They've gone to the right school. They've had the right input. We wouldn't have been able to do that because
it's expensive.
It's
really, really expensive.
Exactly, and that was, that was my why. Also, I wanted to get out of high street recruitment because I didn't want to be part of that churn.
Yeah,
we take a job in high street recruitment, get it filled, don't care who it is. Whereas I'm very, get the right person in. That person could be your client in the future. Do you know what I mean? It's really important.
I'm going to ask you something about high street recruitment, Zach. I will circle back to that promise because
I've triggered something.
Well, you did. You probably saw my face change. Yeah. And I don't hide
you love recruiters, don't you?
Well, it was an experience I hadn't really had before. And it was something that we hadn't used for varying reasons in terms of our growth. And then something happened with our first recruiter, and it was really interesting. Jordan knows where I'm going to go with this because it was just, for me, it was I wasn't surprised, but it was a slight eye-opening sort of experience to a degree. I wasn't surprised, and actually I kind of went, I don't think Laura and Marshall Harmony and the team are like that. And I had a really interesting conversation with Sabrina, so we'll come back to that. But so with your kids being the why is I get that, and I think I understand, obviously, the education side, and obviously there's a secondary why in there as well. You wanted to get yourself out of that churn and of the high street. Those drillers again, isn't it, Jordan?
Sounds like ghosts.
It's not. It's the guys there doing the building work. I'm pleased. I hope nobody kills us for this. But the guys that are doing the or the fuser scum, they're doing the bridge down here, Network Rail Bridge. They're here for 26 weeks. So they're closing the roads in Shrewsbury for 26 weeks every night for like 4 or 5 days a week. Okay. So they come in to do that, which is quite disruptive. But they needed a base. And we just got an empty building at the back of our site. So they went, hey, can we hire you a building? We're like, yeah, it's absolutely fine. So they're literally setting up at the moment. So they're bringing porta cabins, they're clearing sites, they're doing loads of stuff. So I didn't realise when they said that meant that they were going to be like drilling for like 3 days.
Oh, bless you.
It's fine, they're paying, it's fine. Crack on.
It's a silent hum.
They paid a bill, it's fine. I'll send them a grand. Like, God's sake, Lydia. But yeah, no, so with the other part of the why is, which is obviously moving out of the high street recruitment and that churn. What happens now? One of your children's just left school. One's obviously going to be leaving in, 4 years? 4 years.
He's going into year 10 in September.
So he's got 2 years left, and then he goes into sixth form. So what happens once they've gone? Does that why completely goes?
No, because they've still got to do uni. They've still got to have lives. They've still, and my husband wants to come into the business eventually.
Oh, okay.
So, he's got aspirations of a graduate division. So going and getting the best graduates and getting them out there. So I think that it was my why. That is my why. But things evolve.
Yeah.
I've seen that we do recruitment differently, and I'm very passionate of getting that out there. And so how I see it at the moment is we've made a massive impact in the Black Country. Yeah. To a small amount of clients. We're not huge. Mm-hmm. We've been 300 turnover for 3 years, which, for the size of our company is admirable. It's fine. Yeah. But like I say, we're really growing. And the reason that we've joined Shropshire Chamber recently is so that we can replicate that. Mm-hmm. We can do in Shropshire, which makes sense because I live here, what we've done in the Black Country. So really, my why now is to do recruitment differently. Yes, my why is my kids, and my why will always be my family. It's named after them, and Gareth and I are passionate about giving the kids and us having, having the best life that we can, and the business is a bit of a vehicle for that. But also my why now is my team. I have 6 salaries to pay every month.
Yeah.
How many children is that? Evie's got 2, Sabrina's got 3, Kat's got cats, Joe hasn't, Lois hasn't, but Jess has got 2. I don't look at it like I'm paying them, I'm paying their families.
Yeah.
So now it's combined why. Does that make sense?
100%. Absolutely. I think for any entrepreneurship, business entrepreneurs, business people, I would slightly 2 different camps, but absolutely that makes sense. And I think that probably feeds back into the whole culture of what you do. And I guess my next question for you is that what keeps you up at night? Is that the thing that will keep you up of going, or that gives you the drive, I should say, because at the end of the month when you have to pay these guys, that's
non-negotiable.
Yeah.
That's why I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with an idea, with a brain fart.
Yeah.
And I message people and they ignored me, obviously.
How rude. Oh God, they don't realise you pay their salaries. Why are they not at your beck and call?
It's company mobile, so I can do what I want. If they've got it on, that's fine. We donate to Acorns. 2% of everything we invoice, we donate to Acorns Children's Hospice.
Oh, that's just, so that's brilliant.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we do. We're doing the Metals Expo. We've done the manufacturing festival recently, that's coming up as well.
It goes out, isn't it?
Exactly. So that's all cost. It's not a huge cost, but it's everything on top of. But yeah, the Acorns thing I'm really passionate about. I haven't personally
What's the charity Acorns?
It's a children's charity.
Yeah.
So my friend Kirsty Davies has been an ambassador for quite a number of years. She knows that Toby was premature. He was born at 32 weeks. My niece had meningococcal septicemia at 8 months. So she knows I've had experience of, children that have been either prem or poorly. And she was chatting to Abby, who is who basically looks after the ambassadors, and said, "Oh, you need to meet Laura." She phoned me. We met up, and I became an Acorns ambassador. And it means everything. Every single placement that we have, we give 2%.
Yeah.
And that is a pledge. We give it quarterly. Joe's putting a marketing campaign together at the moment so that it gives opportunity for our clients to match that if they want to.
Joe, I desperately sit here and I try with business owners and it's harder with business owners, but with different business. Non-business owners it's easier, but with business owners, I desperately try and sit here and not go, "Oh, have you thought about doing this or doing this, because I know how frustrating I get. God, have you thought about doing this? Of course, I bloody thought about doing that. It hasn't got to me yet. But it was because I wasn't aware of that, and I don't think I've seen that through the journey I've had with you guys. I don't think I've seen that anywhere. I'm just trying to recollect whether I've missed it. Sabrina didn't mention it. Should sack her. She can work for us.
You're not having it.
She didn't mention it. I don't think I saw it in the contracts. I don't think I saw it through the invoicing. I don't think I saw it there.
We need to do it.
It's a really key piece, because I think we'd have turned around and gone, we certainly as a company would have gone, we'll match that. But we're putting
a campaign together to add to our invoices. So Joe's going to put a video together. So we're waiting to go and visit the hospice so that we can put, obviously you can't video the kids or anything like that, but Abby has agreed to do like a little video. Acorns have done a lovely video, which I posted on LinkedIn recently, of all of their new branding. So I'm party to that. I get to see what's happening before it goes out. My team are going to go and spend the day in one of their charity shops. We're going to brand it out for the day and take loads of stuff in and get Sabrina doing some of her modelling and things like that. See who she can tackle.
I'll tell you that story as well.
That's going to be, but no, I think it is something that we're going to chat a lot more about. Obviously, Joe's only been with us 3 months now. And that's something that we were talking about it this morning. Acorns is something we need to be screaming about. Even candidates, congratulations for your job. You're starting on this day. Even if they put 50 quid in, they've got a QR code and they're, really elated because they've got this job. They might put 50 quid in. It's something, that's an extra little thing. So that's definitely something that we're doing. And it is something that I'm proud of and all my team are proud of as well.
Yeah, and I think that, the world will always be a better place if more people did things like that.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because, we're all running commercial businesses and, we're all trying to make sure that we can pay our staff and we can pay our bills. And then there's something at the end, the accountants can put into the pensions, and everything comes with it. So it is really tough. And you do look at those margins. What can we squeeze where?
But 2% of the value of an invoice. It's not. It's not. It's not 2% as in. You feel off. It's the end value. So it's not. We're not talking a lot of money per placement. But I mean, it's like I think nearly £3,000 we gave them last time. The check this time's going to be even more. We've had one of our best quarters ever. So yeah, it is something really, really quite special to us.
Yeah, no, that makes absolute sense. We've just set up our own charity. So we literally had it approved last week.
Right.
So we've just done that for varying reasons. Obviously, we're in a heritage space. So it absolutely makes sense for us to have a charitable arm in terms of what we do and where we're going, but very much for the educational world.
Yeah.
In terms of what we do there. So I hear that and understand it. Right, I want to ask you about the commercial side. I'm still got a tea. Maybe not purposely. So I knew I would make all the way through without getting up tea. Jordan's going to tell me off now for putting tea as the thing. Did you want tea?
Yeah, I'll top up. Thank you.
Sorry, Jordan.
As long as you've got that, you're okay.
Did you want tea as well, Jordan?
Okay.
Joe won't have tea because he doesn't drink tea or coffee. Thank you, no. I know I should have asked before I employed him. He doesn't eat
one of those?
He doesn't eat cheese either.
It was one of the things, and I really liked all the candidates you sent us for the EA role. And obviously an EA role is quite specific as well. Sorry, Jordan, am I not being caught on mic? An EA role is quite specific. One of the things I think I had a pot of tea when Sam came in. I said, "Oh, do you want some tea?" She said, "No, I'm fine." Okay, I'm going to have a shot. First of all, okay. I was like, yeah, like that. Because just drink a lot of tea. So we had an experience before we connected with you guys. So we hadn't used recruiters at all. And I guess my opinion of recruiters was probably similar to car salesmen, that sort of stereotyping of, they're going to step over their own mother's
Estate agents, sell the grandmother.
To a degree, estate agents. Just, I don't want to, I'm going to get a lot of hate on this podcast.
Don't be horrible to estate agents.
Estate agents.
Estate agents.
I don't want to talk about me too much, but I had a really good putting in my place from an estate agent about this place here. And he was marketing this place, and it was you've got to side got me down a different alley now very quickly. Basically, when they were marketing this place here for sale, we couldn't afford to buy it, so we're probably going to have to close our business. Like that's the reality of the situation. And then the owner said, right, the estate agent's here's the appointments, and over a couple of weeks they had however many appointments. And the estate agent turned up, who I knew, from just being in the area. So I knew who they were. We met at probably a couple of networking things before. So they turn up and they go, right. So this is Joel, and he runs the attraction here at the moment. They lease the space basically. So this is the guy that's come to have a look around, and Joel's going to take you around and show you the building. So what? He's like, Joel's going to take you around and show you the building because he knows his way around. I don't know where. I'm just like, what? And I ended up for the next 2 to 3 weeks showing all these people around this building that we couldn't afford to buy, that we run our business from. And I had people going, oh, your business is great. Would you like to stay type of stuff? I was like, yeah, if we could get the right list going. And other people going, so you've got this little tiny business with one back on. And we actually even had clients that had rented the space of us before coming to look to buy it and then berating me on the way through. And I was like, this is horrendous. And I said to the estate agent a few weeks down the line, I was just like, look, I don't like this. This is not fun. I don't want to be doing this type of stuff. And really, we want to be doing this. And I was still talking to him about whether we buy it or not. And he said, look, Joel, you basically either need to shit or get off the pot. He said, either do it or shut up talking about it. And I was like, oh, you kind of put me in my place there a little bit. And I really had to make a decision. But yeah, I get what you're saying, estate agent. But anyway, back to recruiting. So car salesman. So we'd had masses and masses of issues with our marketing role. That's no secret. I talk about it a lot.
You didn't know what you were recruiting for?
Well, it's not so much. I mean, there's an aspect of that. I think the challenge was...
Yeah, but nobody challenged you on it.
They didn't challenge me on it. And actually, people should challenge me more, and they don't. And that is a challenge in itself of being the owner or the founder or the CEO. People don't like to challenge you. And I find that hard because I always open to challenge, but also I'm a very strong character. So people are like, well, I don't really want to do it. So I get that, but it was a case of we'd struggled for years to find the right person. We did find the right person a while ago, and she was brilliant, and we loved her, and everyone was like, she's amazing. And unfortunately, she then got the opportunity for her dream job.
Yeah.
So she moved on, which is a real shame. When she left, she was the best leader we'd ever had. She accelerated in the work she was doing. She was professional all the way to the end, literally both feet in all the time, every day. And she was amazing. I was just, she's brilliant, we just replicate it. We couldn't replicate it. So, and we went through the process of using Indeed, using LinkedIn, and we just couldn't, I don't think we could penetrate the market of what we needed to get. And at the same time, because when you post on LinkedIn, you've got a job, obviously recruiters come to you. So, and then a recruiter came to me, I can't remember exactly what they said, but they said something on a LinkedIn message that it was just enough to grasp my attention and go, oh, actually, there's something here, and we do need this role filled. And actually, do we want to use a recruiter rather than do it ourselves? There's going to be a cost, but it's costing us tens of thousands of pounds not having something.
Of course it is. Yeah.
So we need to do that.
Yeah.
And I'd got to a stage, thankfully, where I was starting to assess how much I would pay not to have that work or that stress.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, right, I would pay, 20 grand a year or 30 grand a year not to have the work, but I would pay 70,000 a year not to have the stress.
Yeah.
You can ask for a pay rise now. But yeah, so that was kind of what we're going to say. So we signed up with a recruiter, started that journey. It was fine. James obviously led with all of that. So that was okay. I think as we were going through that process, Sabrina then messaged and reached out. And I found out afterwards that she'd seen obviously the ad, and she connected the dots because she'd seen that I'd recently connected on LinkedIn with a recruiter. So she connected us and went, are they going to use that recruitment agency? So she reached out and just started having a conversation. Oh, was it? Oh, so one of you did it. Someone did it. But somebody connected the dots. I thought, that's my girl. And Sabrina obviously reached out. But yeah, so the journey...
Lovely WhatsApp chat group.
Yeah. so the journey we had through that, anyway, the long and short of it was, when the candidates started coming through, they weren't very impressive. Like everybody's CVs that were coming through, we weren't seeing anything of any real quality. Not the quality we needed, and as I say, not of any quality, but what we needed. I call a spade a spade, and I think if you're employing somebody at this level, it's fair to say that's what we need.
Yeah.
We're not dropping, and that's just what we need. And what happened was they sent in a few CVs, so that was fine, and then I spoke to them and said, hey, look, we're just not quite how you're getting on, what candidates come through. So they sent the ones they sent to James, was like, okay. And so we've got these other ones, but you're not paying enough for them. And I know that. And it's like, okay. And then they turned around and said, and I know that because I put them in role 18 months ago. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I actually knew two of the candidates because they'd applied for us a couple of years ago. When we went through the process before. And what became very apparent very quickly for me, and I then tracked back through the journey of these guys on LinkedIn, these different candidates, and I could see every 18 months to 2 years, they were moving to a different company. And it's just got me looking and going, is that recruiter got that person on their books, they've put them into a role for, let's say, £45,000 a year as a marketing manager, they're in that company for 18 months, and then another company's like, I need a marketing manager. And they've gone, oh, okay, brilliant. Yeah, I've got somebody. But I know they're going to be at 50,000.
Oh my God.
So then they go back to that person and say, oh, I've got this other company. And they've already got a relationship. So they placed them 18 months ago. I've got this other company that is going to pay £50,000, basically the same role. Would you be interested? Oh, yeah, because I'm going to get paid.
You're horrifying me.
So they jump into that company. And 18 months later, it happens again. And I was just like, because sometimes when I look at LinkedIn profiles, not just in marketing, but and certainly at a certain level, you can see the 18-month to 2 year within a company, and they move on. And sometimes they move up. Sometimes it's a very similar role, but a company.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that recruiter just turning them over every 18 months? Every 18 months to 2 years. And I was like, and that for me was the experience we had in that journey. And that's why with you guys, I didn't think that was what you guys were about.
No. You're horrifying me by saying.
Yeah, so I didn't think that's what you guys were about. So I felt very comfortable. I remember having a conversation with James and saying, look, I don't think Laura's guys do this. I don't think that's what happens. I'm sensible enough that I put a clause into our contract that I said to you, I'm going to add this clause to our contract. You can't come back to these people for this long. But yeah, so I was just like, I guess that's obviously the experience I had in you know the world far better than I do because you've been in it for obviously for a long time. Is that what recruiters do? Is that what companies do in there? They pick them back out after 18 months.
The wrong companies do. Yeah, because people keep in contact with people. I mean, we keep in contact with people to see how they're getting on, and they end up being clients.
Yeah.
But you know, and you know, if things don't work out, and people are made redundant and things like that, they'll come back to the recruiter that that obviously found them the job, and that's a big different thing.
Absolutely.
I would never approach somebody who I'd placed ever.
Yeah,
that's horrific. It does happen. I hear about it happening, but it's. You're not placing them temp, you're placing them permanent.
Yeah.
They should be having their career, they should be looking at 5 years down the line, where are they? Do you know what I mean? Certainly not 2 years. But I wouldn't even entertain contacting somebody I'd placed somewhere for another job. That's just morally it doesn't sit right.
And that was it. And I think that's the difference I find and I see between business owners and founders specifically as well. And the why is what drives them, because that morality is in there. And you know, I can sit here and honestly say I've had people come and interview for jobs from companies that we work with, and I've sat there very awkwardly going, oh, hold on a sec. I know the person that owns your company relatively well. I wouldn't say we're friends, but I certainly, you know, we know each other. Do they know you've applied for this? They're like, no. And I'm like, okay, this is a really awkward situation now. So how do you manage that? I've also met people in companies that I've gone, oh, I'd really like them in our business. Like, I'd really, really like them in our business. Can we approach them? Like, can we do that? And trying to find the line myself morally to go, what reason can I give myself that says it's okay to approach them?
You can cherry pick people from competitors.
Yeah.
And that's what I say to clients. I mean, I did one fairly recently where it was a commercial director role, and I knew what he wanted. And he gave me names of companies. And I said, if you could cherry, and I say it all the time, if you could cherry pick somebody that would know your customers, that would know, but you're not directly connected to, but I do on their behalf.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a different story, and I'm approaching them and I'm saying, look, your name's coming from conversation. You're somebody I want to talk to.
Yeah.
So it's a genuine approach. But I get people contacting me from clients that I work with, and I always say to them, have you spoken to your line manager about the reason why? You know, and I think it's really, really important to push back. And I know that I've saved loads of people within businesses by talking them through, well, why are they looking? What's the situation? So we're not just a one-stop shop of like, get somebody, fill them. I feel like a shrink. I really do a lot of the time, you know, to kind of both clients and to candidates. You know, you touched on it earlier when you said about people with their mortgages and having to sell things. COVID was an awful time for that, especially for people that are earning like 80, 100 grand as directors. Yeah. You know, they're suddenly without jobs. They've not just got a low mortgage they need to sort. They've got, do you know what I mean? They're the breadwinner.
People live to their means.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you get paid 40,000, you live to that 40,000.
Exactly. And people are like, well, why can't they just drop it? Well, they can't drop it because they've got a mortgage. You know, that's what you say. They're living to their means. And I think, you know, if somebody approaches me from a company that I know, I'll tell them who to talk to. And I'll tell them why things might be a certain way, but without giving too much information. Do you know what I mean? So I think when clients know that, clients know what we're like, you know, in terms of those sorts of conversations. But no, I would never head for anybody I deal with. Absolutely not counting house chance.
Yeah, it's really tricky. It's just, and like I said, it's just experience, but that's the same kind of thing. I've worked in a few different sales jobs, and I've worked in sales jobs where I've seen people have clients ready to sign a deal, and then they've gone on holiday or they've been off sick, and another salesperson will come in and they'll pick up the phone and they'll take the deal and they'll get it over the line just for the commission. And unfortunately, they get those sorts of reputations. But yeah, it was a shame. But you know, we just stopped working with that recruiter. We just moved on, and whether that was what they were doing or not, I don't know. But reading between the lines, looking at it.
You didn't get the right vibe.
No, that was my gut feeling, and that was the vibe. And you know, I said to Lucy this morning, who you placed for us into the marketing role, and we were having a conversation about companies we work with and alignment. I was saying one of the things we now look at, we never used to, But one of the things we now look at is alignment. And I want to make sure that the companies we partner with, and I split between partners and suppliers.
Yeah.
The companies we partner with, I want an alignment between their values and our values, what they're doing and where they're going, and what we're doing and where we're going. Some of that's based on growth. We've got huge ambitions for our growth. And therefore, in certain industries, we need those partners to be able to grow and scale with us.
Yeah.
We don't want a partner that's going to say, well, actually, no, I just want to be in Shrewsbury. I just want to be in Sheffield.
Yeah.
I just want to be said, actually, we need you to be able to grow with us. But other partners, it doesn't matter too much. But it's the alignment of the values. And I think that's what we very much found with you guys, was actually that alignment was really clear for us very early on.
And that means a lot. That really does mean a lot, because we're exactly the same. I walk away from business daily. If I don't get that feeling, and if I don't want to represent that company, same with candidates. If there's candidates that we don't feel, we would want to represent, and we would, would fit our values and sort of alignment of how we work, we won't work with them.
Yeah.
There's a big enough world out there. Do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, absolutely. And we try and see the same thing from employees. And you said it earlier about values and the company's values and company culture isn't about what's on the wall, which is ironic because we've got the stuff on the wall. It's about what people will say about you in the pub. And I sort of thought to myself when you said that, I was like, I wonder what people say about me in the pub. And I was like, and I was in the pub with some of them last week. They were saying lovely things about me after that. But I know that different people in our organisation at different levels, at different stages, and people who've left will all say different things.
Of course they will.
It's a real mixed bag, but I just try and sit with from an employee perspective. I always look at it, and again, we've got a number of people like this. But if somebody is not leaving an area, so I think people leave jobs for a couple of reasons. They leave jobs because they're moving and they can't do the job from somewhere different, especially an attraction, for example. You can't do it remotely, so they leave because of that. They might leave for career growth if they can't get it in the company they're with. And those are two legitimate, fair, it happens all the time. And I think the third reason is because they don't get any kind of real satisfaction from what they're doing, or enough satisfaction.
They're no longer in love with the job.
Yeah, to be content. And, I worked in a yoga factory for a little while, years and years and years ago. And it's very hard to get job satisfaction for working in yoga. It's very, very difficult. But there is an element of, if the culture's wrapped around you though in the right way, whilst it's not the most exciting job in the world, but it's a job, it pays the bills. And actually they did things like you had a shift allowance, so if you just turned up on time, you got an extra, I think it was £2.50 every day. And they were very clever, because they had £2.50 to turn up on time every day, so you do that 5 days a week. Suddenly you get that every single week, every single month, compound it over a year, compound it over 20 years. It's a lot of money just for turning up on time. And they sold it very well. So there's things like that, but they also did lots of benefits for them in terms of the employee side. So I always try and look at it and go, right, I look at every employee that comes in, and I said this to my team, and said to our senior team, when you're employing people, when you're interviewing people, and you look at them, how long, when you look at them, are you thinking, or how long do you think this person's going to be with you? Do you look at them and go, right, how long is Laura going to be with us in our company? And are you looking and going, she might be with us for a year, or 3 years, or 5 years, or 50 years?
Or in our company, no one's allowed to leave unless we want them to.
Yeah,
that's how we work.
Oh my God, I'm stealing that. I'm telling you right now, I'm stealing that.
That's basically, that's my ethos in terms of that. They're lifers. Yeah. Unless.
Oh, I'm definitely stealing that. 100% stealing lifers. Why are you lifers? But that's it. And I just think if you, as a business owner, or as an employer, or anybody even that can manage and control or influence, I should say, culture in a company. So that might be somebody in HR, it could be the senior directors, whoever can help to influence and mold that cultural side of things, that if you can get it right, people won't leave. Now, unless they're physically moving away and you can't allow them to work remotely, which isn't always logistically possible, why would somebody leave your business?
Exactly.
And to me, I was like, you don't really need a retention budget. because you just do it every single day by doing what
You've just got to know what somebody's why is, and you've also got to know what somebody's growth strategy is. You know, again, give Joe as an example. He wants to do a BSc degree, so we are putting him through that. Jess wants to be a leader, so we are going to be looking at leadership course. You know, so we know what that pathway looks like, and I think if you have those regular conversations with your team and you understand, nothing's going to come as a surprise. You know, because usually they will, like you say, they will move for progression. They might move because they no longer, are aligned or kind of believe in your values. That's another one that can sort of happen because businesses change as different people come in, things change. But I think as long as you keep that open communication, there shouldn't be any surprises with people just leaving.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I think the comms is the really important bit. I read every single PDR. It doesn't matter whose PDR it is. I read every single one. I don't do any ever.
No.
I don't do them anymore because I'm awful at doing it. I hate doing it. Thankfully, I'm in a position where I don't have to.
I was going to say, you're a big enough company. I couldn't do that.
I think we've probably got to the space, and also I've structured it like that. But this is where you take it or leave it from how Joel is. But also, if I don't want to do it, I'm just not going to do it, and I don't want to do a PDR for somebody. And that's about me, not about them. And they've got the value, and I've made sure it's all in place. But I'm not particularly.
You don't get involved, yeah.
No, so I read every single one. And I use that to understand where those people want to go and see what the development looks like and what roles do we have.
Well, Jordan's an example, isn't he, Ben?
He's more of an example than you know. Do you mind? Can I talk about that, George? Do you mind if I talk about your? We had the conversation, so I think
he's hiding behind the computer there.
he just knows he can cut it out if he wants. I'll give him a clean cut.
What's Joe doing?
Jordan. One of the things that I saw in Jordan's PDR, which absolutely pleased me but really concerned me, was one of the things that Jordan wants to do is work in production world, is be part of creating production. So I've got a friend whose wife is a DOP on big TV shows, Last of Us, Game of Thrones, such like that. So really big things. Goes to BAFTA ceremonies and stuff. She's amazing, and she's done some brilliant things. Her career has been absolutely fantastic, and she's a big advocate for women in film, because obviously it's an industry that's massively under proportionate in terms of females in those kind of roles, and she's amazing at it. So I sort of had that conversation, but I saw in Jordan's PDR that's where he wants to go, and I was like, that's brilliant. My concern is that's not what we do as a business.
No.
So at the moment he's getting value and he's learning stuff and he's able to have loads of freedom, but he will get to a stage where we've not, potentially at this stage anyway, our plan is not in that road. It's not progressing that road. So he'll get to a stage where he's like, what I want to do, I just can't get a code group. And he'll start looking to leave, which is fair and it's fine. It's not our fault. It's not his fault. It's just the way it is. But that'll be such a loss for us as a business. So I'm going, right, how do I keep Jordan, or how do I keep him engaged? So one of the things I'd said was, right, when we next get productions in, I will ask a production if I can get you in as sort of part of the crew, even kind of like shadowing or even apprenticing. So at least you can learn some of that information.
And they're going to set your own production company.
Well, no. So initially what it said to me was, all I've done is accelerate Jordan leaving. I was like, he's going to get him experience to actually leave. No, and it was just, it just got me going, right, well, how do we hold on to this person? How are we going to do that? And I have to accept that we may not be able to, because we just don't have that. We're not growing.
But then you've created a legacy like within him, haven't you? So you've from an unselfish point of view, you've given him what he needs, and he's given your business what you need from that period of time. Yeah. And then you've nurtured him to enable him to do that. So you could look at him with pride. That's a way that I would say you could look at it.
Absolutely. I mean, what I have done is I have set, and it won't work for everybody, it may not work for Jordan, but what I have done is I've set our investment side up. So code investments in basically in practice, which is sort of two strands. One is where we'll support companies with what they need to grow. That's not always money. It's you'll appreciate. It's sometimes companies need money. Sometimes they actually need structure. They need strategy. They need support in different areas. We're, I say, fortunate, but it's not fortunate fortunate we've designed it that way. I've designed it that way, that we have a centralized sales, marketing, HR, finance, admin team, so we can provide that kind of support to other businesses. So if Jordan goes, actually, Joe, I do want to do this, but I want to set up my own company to do it.
You've got the
It's like
facility.
we can become a partner for you to help you do that. And therefore we get to keep
hold of it.
keep hold of the knowledge, at least within the group. He'll go and run his own business, and off he goes, and we can support him, and off they go. But I think that's within there. It's just we're a people-driven business, and I think we always will be, regardless of what happens within industries. I think we'll always be people-driven, and therefore the culture always becomes a key part. And I think, trying to hold on to good people and trying to do the right thing by them is paramount to that.
100%.
And I think, if you can do that right and get a reputation for it, recruitment probably becomes easier.
Yeah.
I think. That's
I would agree.
So I think it comes off like that. Should we talk about Sabrina? She was, I might even have to get my phone and read you some of the messages. Did she tell you about, I asked her how she went to recruitment?
I don't know.
So
Can't remember if
we had lots of conversations, and I can't even remember exactly the message she sent me on LinkedIn, but it was a very funny message. I remember it made me laugh before I can't even remember what it was. I'd have to look back, but I remember it made me laugh. I was like, what is this? And I sort of flicked through it, and I saw a profile on a recruiter. I was like, we're doing a recruiter. And I said that to her, and then she just gave me space.
Yeah.
And then just dropped in, how's it going? I was like, actually, it's not going that well. But she also matched my language and matched my time. So I think she messaged me during the day, and I didn't ping back to her until about 9 o'clock at night. So I remember I sat on the sofa, I picked on my work phone, I pinged her back, and then she pinged me back.
Right.
And then we had a whole conversation for probably about an hour.
Didn't she miss a junction on her?
No, that was not.
That was so
funny. That was probably,
I know that one. She missed a junction.
So funny. And it was because it was so like me as well. But yeah, so we messaged probably for about an hour, and we were just talking about recruitment. And actually, and I was asking her things like, I was saying, we're with another recruiter. She was asking how it's going. I said, yeah, it's okay. But I was saying about all the problems we have with recruiting and marketing. This is why we have issues.
Yeah.
How do you find this? Well, what's your experience in this? Well, and she was just going back to me very openly, very honestly. And I was like, oh, actually, I'm getting quite a lot of knowledge from this. I'm learning quite a lot. So that brought huge value. We probably spoke for a few times between actually moving over to you guys, and obviously having the experience with the recruiters because she was in place. And I think what we did was we actually said we'll start doing the EA role. Yes, we're going to leave the marketing over here where it is. We'll start doing the EA role.
And I filled it within 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
And you didn't even see CVs, did you? You just trusted me.
I did.
You just went crack on.
Yeah, I did. And that's how I work. Is I'm just like just crack on.
You ain't got time.
No, so that's Lucy. Anyway, you've got somebody that you just trust. Just crack on. Just do it. And I think I probably a bit arrogantly sort of said, I might put it on a LinkedIn poster. I said to Sabrina, I was like, right, put you in the game, go do it. Because that's how I am with when I captain the cricket side on the Sunday. So I'm like with the young kids, I'm like, right, I'll put you in the game. It's all on you.
Get on with it.
But yeah, so we did that. And anyway, we got through that. We got through that journey. That was fine. And I said to Sabrina, because I was really aware as well, because I was interested in the culture, because what was happening was, we were having these conversations in the evening because that's the time that I was responding, because that's what worked for me.
Yeah.
But she's got young children.
Yeah.
And I could see that through her socials. So she had young children like, oh, you're giving up like your family time.
She's like me. She just replies.
Yeah, but again, what I'm always aware of, we're different because we own
the business. Yeah,
so it is different for us. So she was doing that. So I was really impressed by that. But I was also, I wonder what that culture's like. But we have people that work for us that do more work in the evenings or early in the mornings than they do during the day because it fits their life.
I couldn't care if my team work up a tree.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what our culture is.
Yeah.
So if she needs a few hours off in the day, she'll work in the evening. It's the same with all of them.
Yeah.
And that's how we work.
Yeah. And we have that same thing within Cove Group. We don't within all our businesses.
No.
Because we just can't.
You can't.
Because
No.
we need people in the cafe.
Yeah.
They need to be. They can't work on a tree. They need to be in the cafe.
They've got to be present. Yeah.
Exactly that. But yeah, so I said to Sabrina, I was just like, look, I'm really curious. How did you get into recruitment? Because she's from banking.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, you've got a really impressive banking career.
Yeah.
How did you jump into recruitment? So I asked her and she went, do you want the long answer or the short answer? The short answer or the long answer? I went, do you know, I want the long answer. I want to hear this.
What she told you.
And then she just went, I'll send you a voice note. So I was like, okay. So anyway, I must be like, I don't know, a week or so later, suddenly ping, and this voice note came through and just said, sorry, I forgot to do this. I'll do it now on my way home. And I'm driving home. So she spent 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes, telling me this story.
Joe's not surprised by this.
Did this voice note. It was brilliant. And it was the first time I'd heard her voice. And the way she spoke and the language she used, I was in absolute ecstatic. I was creasing at some of the things she was saying. Some of them were really heart-wrenching, but some of them was absolutely creasing. And then just going through, fuck. And I was like, I've just missed my bloody turn. I was just like, I can't believe it. I'm going home. I do this trip every single day.
Bless her.
And I'm just chatting to you. I've just missed my turn. That's your fault. Like, that's absolutely your fault. I'm really late. I've got to go all the way down and turn around and come back. And I was just like, what? It was just happening after that. I was just like, it was just very, very funny all the way through. And then, it was like I say, it was just an experience. But I think, again, for companies, those sorts of things are built on relationships.
Yeah.
They're built on trust. And sales is very much built on you buy from people you trust and you build those relationships. And that's why I think between businesses, where they become partnerships rather than supplies. Yeah. So yes, it might be that you supply us with recruitment. And there isn't a service going the other way, but we see it more as a partnership because actually you're understanding our ethos and our growth.
But things like you're coming to you're having a seat at the Chamber Awards with us, things like that. So that's great, isn't it? Because that's a great opportunity, for you to be in that room with those people, lots of different people, and for us to sort of work with you on that. So I think it is, and it's using each other's knowledge. Yeah. Like if you want to pick my brain or anything, or vice versa.
Which I'm about to.
I'll go on.
I'm about to. Because we had another conversation when we went through the journey. I won't say specific who it is because it's too identifiable, but we spoke about different remuneration packages, not outside of salaries, didn't we? We spoke about, I think we talked about holidays and how many days holiday people get. Yeah. And then I saw you did a post on LinkedIn, which I purposely commented on about commission. So let's talk through the remuneration packages. And I'm really interested in your experience because you said to me, and I was Emma, my wife, was there at the time. She could sort of hear the conversation going on from the other side around holiday packages and I guess, and specifically for salespeople about commissions. So what's your thoughts on those?
Well, I just pushed back because I obviously, again, having worked in the industry for such a long time and seeing what other companies do, I know you don't agree from the conversations we've had, but I find it very difficult to know how you motivate a salesperson if you don't pay them commission, if you're expecting them to achieve lots of different things.
I own 3 prisons.
Use a stick. Being having been that salesperson,
agreed.
I didn't work for my basic, I worked for my bonus. I'm not where I am today because of my basic salary. Yeah. I'm where I am today because of what I achieved in excess of. So from a sales capacity, I see it that you do your job. You've got a certain target that you hit for your salary. That's your non-negotiable. That's why you get paid. Mm-hmm. But what you do above and beyond that, you should be separately rewarded for. And that's how I've always seen. And I've pushed back a lot with people on this. There's actually a friend of mine who runs a company. He had this conversation with me about 10 years ago now. So it's a friend from the theatre world that runs his own company. I'm not paying commission to salespeople, but what, you expect them to bring millions of pounds worth of deals in? Why would they? When actually another company they go to, they're going to earn that commission. Yeah. So I think it's looking at what the market's dictating. Do you know what I mean?
I do, and I think market dictations are really, I'd say, an interesting point. I'm not sure interesting is the right word. I am somebody that goes against the grain of the standard of this. We do it because of this. And I'm like, but I want to do it differently. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. It's a double-edged sword. My challenge with commission, I've worked in commission jobs, and I've seen it done where it works okay. More often than not, my experience has been that in commission-based salespeople, you can have the wrong personalities, depending on what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Depending on what you're trying to do. And I've worked in PLCs where, the goal is shareholder return. And therefore it's, we're paying salespeople £120,000 a year basic and then commission and, multi-million contracts, tens of millions. And really big things. And some of those salespeople have been brilliant and lovely. And I know one on LinkedIn I've spoken to in the past and I worked with. And I think he's a really nice guy and he's really good at what he does. And he's very open, he's very honest, and he's very team orientated. I know lots of other people that aren't like that.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's not the issue. The issue is, how do you, and from a cultural perspective, explain that to the rest of your team? So if we've got a salesperson that's going out and so they're bringing £1 million contract, for example. So they're bringing £1 million contract. We are going to pay them X amount extra, whether it's 2%, whatever it might be. So they're going to get that as a bonus for bringing it in. But what about everybody else in that chain that then has to be involved in it post the sale? Because it has to be delivered.
Well, we do it separately.
Yeah.
So that's how we do it. I'm not to obviously talk about what I give my team, but Sabrina gets a different level of commission. So it's your salesperson has opened the door. Your salesperson has built that relationship initially.
Yeah.
You've then got your people that service it.
Yeah.
So how, there's lots of different ways to do it. I mean, in recruitment, if you're a full 360 recruiter, so you bring it on and you fill it and you do everything, you get a percentage off that placement.
Yeah, makes sense.
Whereas, if somebody in your industry is bringing a big contract on, what I would do is reward them for that contract and then reward a smaller amount to the people that are servicing it that is based on what they're doing on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
They shouldn't know what somebody else is earning anyway, because it shouldn't be a conversation that's had.
And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a cultural thing, really. But what I would say is, if you want to push your salespeople to be doing this, and this, rather than just plodding along and doing this, you need to reward them for it. And I would never go back on that, because, as I say, I am that salesperson. Yeah. If I was told, right, I earned the companies that I worked for a lot of money. I was called the cash cow. If I was told you're just going to earn your basic salary this month, I probably wouldn't be able to live off it. Yeah. When I first started in recruitment, I was on 12 grand a year.
But is that because the basic salary is not higher?
It was at that time, but then it wasn't by the end. Yeah. By the end, I was earning a decent basic salary.
Because I guess the challenge is, and I'm looking at my company very much, and we've obviously got 6 different businesses spread across different parts, but we're all interconnected. There's a whole ecosystem. So for our sales guys, the sales guys have to generate a sale. So let's say it's a £1 million number, for example. And they're going to get their 2% on it. So they're going to get 20 grand bonus basically on top of the best salary. They're getting a 20 grand bonus for that £1 million income. We obviously have to ascertain what the profit margin is going to be on that £1 million. So hopefully, ideally, before we even go, that profit margin is going to be set. But marketing's involved there somewhere in terms of promoting everything that we do before we generate the lead, before our company's aware of us. So marketing's got skin in that game over here. Then you go through the sales process. You've then got finance involved somewhere for the financing, especially on a £1 million contract. They're going to oversee that. We've then obviously got the sales manager above and the sales director, and then upward for that chain. Then we've got the delivery components. We're going to have probably a customer service, a handover piece in there. Then we've got the delivery components over here as well. And for us, all the way down to the cleaner, who's not part of the delivery of the contract, but is responsible for ensuring the place is clean. So when they turn up, they're there. So my challenge is how do we pay that person that kind of money whilst nobody else sees that level of bonus, but potentially, arguably, depends on how you look at it, I guess, they're still a massively important cog. And if you took that delivery arm out, we're not delivering the product, and therefore the customer's going to want that refund.
Well, some companies do a company bonus.
Yeah, that's what we're
So what they do is everybody gets exactly the same.
Yeah.
But the sales team gets something a little bit different on, bringing it in.
Yeah.
But in terms of, so you could almost look at that £1 million, and how much of that are you prepared to give to your whole company as a bonus? And what does that look like from a divvying point of view? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, no, absolutely.
If I was in your shoes, that's what I would do, because I would think my salespeople are going to go somewhere else where they can earn bonus. That's what I would always be thinking of. I think as a business owner, it's looking, knowing what you're going to get into your business as a return, and actually what extra you're going to get. So if somebody knows they're going to do that, they're going to work harder than get you another £1 million contract. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
That's the ROI, isn't it?
Yeah, and I guess the challenge is I think we break the mold to a degree because James hated this. Like, we don't do it like this quite the same anymore. But I just used to say to people, we used to do PDRs, that's why I don't do PDRs. So we would do a PDR and we would talk about salary, remuneration and stuff. And I'd say, what do you want to be paid?
Yeah.
And they would say, and I go, okay. And we'll go, what? Okay, that's what you get paid. And we did it company-wide once a few years ago.
Yeah.
We put out a questionnaire to all of our staff, and we said, we asked them to talk about their role and what they enjoyed, what they didn't enjoy, what they'd like to change, what they saw different, what they currently earn and what they'd like to earn and what they felt they should earn. And bar 2 people, we just company-wide went, we'll just do it.
Yeah.
And suddenly, and I did it as a bit of a cultural thing, but also as a bit of a test. Go, what happens if you just pay people exactly what they ask?
Yeah.
And it did make a huge impact for probably about 6 months.
Yeah.
And then that kind of changed. Year after was interesting because we came back and they were like, I want to be paid this much. And suddenly the numbers went up drastically.
Yeah.
But so it was that. And I think it's all about those numbers. The challenge that we have, and I agree with you about, people should know what each other's getting, especially in bonus schemes, is when somebody believes or thinks or knows that this person is getting X on top, they suddenly become disassociated with, and the culture starts to break down. It becomes a challenge. And I remember Karen Brady, was chatting to her about this when The Apprentice filmed here. And I asked her, a very similar question, sort of in a roundabout way, and she said that she has this same challenge at the football club, because she'll have somebody who's a 19-year-old who's cleaning the car park on £20,000 a year, and she'll have the same 19-year-old that plays for the A team that's on £20,000 a week. Mm-hmm. And culturally, how is that put together? It's just about value. It's the value they bring.
The value they bring to business, exactly.
And that is the challenge. We're looking more at a company-wide bonus and how we split that down, and having almost qualifying criteria for it. So ultimately, you can't be on disciplinaries, for example. Yeah. You can't be certain sicknesses and things like that. We haven't figured it out yet. We're just looking at it. And then we would attribute it, because we've obviously got different people on different contracts. We've got different people on different hours. So actually, if you're full-time, you earn, a percentage of the pot. And if you're part-time, you earn a percentage of the pot, so on and so forth.
But business development is a very stressful role to be in.
Yeah.
You are responsible for bringing those clients in.
Yeah.
That's how I would, that's how I see it. Without that final call happening from that business development person, you're not going to have that piece of business.
Yeah.
So that's why as I say, it's selfishly from that point of view, because I've been that person, I probably see it differently. But I think salespeople that don't earn, it creates a bit of a lazy sales culture if they don't earn bonus.
Yeah, I get it. You need to drive them. And I think that, I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't like commission structures for individuals. I think it potentially breeds the wrong type of person that we want within our business.
Yeah, and it's different with different businesses. I think if you bring a team bonus in, just look at it from that point of view, then that's the way you could do it.
Yeah, it's tricky. I don't know why, but maybe it's one and the same. I'd much rather just pay somebody their salary and have them deliver and be accountable across the board. Because if you pay somebody a salary, let's say, a business development person, 40k, and you put them into a salary and they achieve a certain amount, and then you bonus above it. Mm-hmm. And therefore, if they achieve it, brilliant. If they don't, then they don't. They're meeting their targets. Whereas if we go, actually, we're going to give you a salary of 80,000 and we expect this delivery.
That's different. Yeah,
And then then they're accountable for it rather than making their own decision. This month I'll do it, this month I won't.
But if you're comfortable giving them that, then that's absolutely fine. But it's knowing what their remuneration package would be, including their bonus somewhere else. I think it's being aware of that.
It's been really interesting because that's the next recruitment we've got coming up.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, well, yeah. And again, we had the conversation.
Pass it over.
Well, James and I had this conversation. We've got business development out of there because we've changed the way we're going to do business dev. So and again, we're learning all the time. Every day we're learning something new. But we've decided to make our business dev regional rather than product based. So we've been product based for years. We're going into regional because we just need people within those regions that understand what's happening in that area, because it's different. What's happening in Shrewsbury is very different.
That's completely different. I always say to people, split it into regions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we've had to learn that, and I think people knew that wasn't. Again, I pushed for us to go into product sector, and people sort of pushed back. They did it very lightly. Whether they knew that we should be regional or whether they just didn't like the idea of going product, I don't know. But they didn't push back hard enough, so we ended up doing it. A year and a half down the line, we're actually, no, let's go to regional. So we're doing that. And we had the discussion and we're like, do we do this through Indeed? Do we do this through a recruiter? So we had that discussion and then made that decision.
We haven't made the call yet.
we have made the call, and it's an Indeed. I think that's where it's going. And I can't remember exactly the reason why. I think it was because we hadn't done it yet to put it out there. But it was definitely one of those on the cusp of, is that a recruiter or is that an Indeed or a LinkedIn role? Because a lot of roles that we apply for, especially in the attractions, will always work best in Indeed, LinkedIn and stuff like that. I'm probably more Indeed than LinkedIn. But with the business dev, because I think we know what you guys will say, is what we're looking to pay based on what we're asking is not enough.
Right. Okay.
I'm 100% sure that's what you're going to say. So I think what we're doing is just wasting.
How you get on.
I think we're wasting our own time by putting it into the market, not paying enough, going through the journey.
People, and then you'll come back to
we'll just piss about for another month, and I'll be like, hey, Sabrina, just a quick one. I think we might do, and I think as a business though, you have to go through that pain sometimes.
You can get it for free. Get it for free.
Well, we have weighed up the cost of what it does for us, and actually, I think the fees for recruiting, say the fees to sound like a sponsorship. I think the fees that we have with you guys, by the time we take into consideration writing everything up, doing the Indeed ads, putting it through LinkedIn, getting all the applicants through, the sponsorship of those posts, sifting everything come back through, doing the phone interviews, getting that through, shortlisting it, putting it over to whoever the recruitment manager is going to be, and then going through the CVs, making sure that we're balancing everything from equality and diversity.
It makes you feel tired.
So much bloody work. So much work. So I've done it myself. It's so long.
How long did it take you to recruit for your EA? And
which time?
This time. And how many hours?
How many hours did it take me?
How many hours did you spend? Oh, about 2.
No, because I interviewed them for 3 hours, like an hour each. So
you spent about an hour with me.
Yeah.
You didn't even have the CVs until the interviews.
Probably half a day.
Yeah, exactly. So no.
I agree. I agree with you, and I think that is
you're preaching to the converted.
That's one of the biggest sells from our perspective. That's the biggest sell I push back to our team to go, but if we use the recruiter, then and I always look at this as going, it's not the time that our HR team will spend doing the recruitment, it's the time they can spend doing something different.
Exactly.
And that for us.
That's what we say. Yeah. But it's all the different stages. Everybody that applies, if you want your company window to look right, you need to reply to them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? How long does that take? So it's all the hidden costs.
Yeah, and I can't remember when I made the mind shift change. But it's looking at, if somebody's doing that, it's not just the cost of what they're doing; it's the cost of what they're not doing.
Yeah, what they could be doing. Yeah,
and for us, if their HR person's then working on culture and they're working on the culture for 70 other people, that value that brings us is so much greater. Or is at least equal to what we're spending over here on recruitment and that time. And that's something I try and analyse across the board for every employee. They're on the floor doing this. That's why I love AI. That's why and from an attraction perspective, how do we get AI and how do we get systems and technology to take over what our people are doing. And it's not so we can replace our people, it's so we can redeploy them elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather have all of our people, special attractions, interacting with customers around the attraction than I would sat on a desk scanning tickets as you come in.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Which can be done. And just looking at Ironbridge, how I did drop that. Just looking at Ironbridge reviews for the last weekend when they've reopened.
Well, the road's closed.
No, but the Bliss Hill, yeah, I know.
Bliss Hill Road, I know right. The road's closed.
The irony of the fact that attraction's been shut for months, and that when they opened, they decide to redo the roads. I know that's not there.
It's completely ridiculous.
Nuts. It's so.
I couldn't get to my nail appointment last week. I had to go a different way.
The life of a
I
business
know,
owner.
exactly.
When you go into my life, I just go, what? You do what? As I know, right? But yeah, just looking at that and how people were talking about the changes being made, some very positive, a lot it's not as good as it was. And it's because they don't have the same amount of people in the same places delivering the same experiences. That's what people want, experiential experience.
With social trust, isn't it then?
Yeah. So, solid, safe pair of hands. But people aren't getting the same experience as they were. And that was, a growing comment. And I'm like, actually, how can we deliver that? Because we don't have that budgets. And that's technology coming into place. And I assume you'll find that in your world as well. Technology will help you guys, and AI will probably help you guys.
It does in bits and pieces, but there's certain things I would never use it in, which I said, from a candidate point of view, never.
Yeah.
Not a chance. Because a lot of people say, oh, you're the first actual recruiter I've spoken to. I have to get through 3 stages of AI. And there's AI looking at my CV.
Yeah.
Every single CV that comes into our business has human eyes on it. And it always will.
Yeah,
I don't care what people say.
And I think that's really good. And I can't remember who I saw it from, but again, I'd see a load of posts on LinkedIn. But I saw a post about how it's funny now that a company will write a job description using AI, write the ad using AI, put it through Indeed, who will then use their AI to put it up. And then the candidate will write their CV using AI. And then the employer will use AI to manage to look at and review that CV.
Ridiculous.
All the way through.
Where's the human?
It's just AI all the way through until you get to interview.
Yeah.
And then suddenly people feel they're misaligned.
It's ridiculous. I don't get it. I mean, our adverts, I think, do make us stand out. They're weird, but they work.
Yeah.
Because they actually put people off.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want people to either self-qualify and be like, yes, this is me, or go, actually, this is one that's for me. And I think that's really important. And if we used AI in all of those things, it wouldn't be the Marshall Harmony way. It wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's
a stab for you guys. When you said to me, like, when I write this ad, it's going to be different to what you're used to. I'm like, yeah, just crack on.
You're a bit,
Well, I think that's how our relationship developed, and we figured each other out, because you were like, it's going to be very different. You were sort of trying to pre-warn me. I was like, yeah, that's fine, just crack on. And you were like, okay, like setting the expectation. And I saw the ad, and you were like, look, it's different. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. Like, if you say it works, I'm sure it works, and off you go. And it was just like, I think for each of us, I was just like, look, if you're telling me this is going to work, just do it. And I think you may be taking that to go. Normally, you sometimes get pushback from
people. I say, get your red pen out. My words are, and probably put it in the email.
Yeah, you did.
Because I don't, because it's not my advert, it's yours.
Yeah.
That's my take. So that's my brain dump plus a little bit of cohesive, kind of putting together of what you've told me. But sometimes I take it too far. Certain things that people tell me, I sometimes put too much in the advert, and I have to get pulled back a bit.
I get told off for that as well. That's why I was like, you're not going to write anything that is going to be beyond, it will not be beyond, I don't think. Because I've done some crazy stuff in the business where people are like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And like marketing literally had to pull posts down that
I've had.
You can't do that. I'm like, of course you can do that. Yeah. Fine, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like, oh. So yeah, it's things. What's your thoughts on posting salaries?
What, on adverts?
Yeah.
You can't really put a job out there unless you've got a salary on there, because why would you expect someone to apply? We can't take jobs without salaries.
Oh, it's my biggest gripe.
No, I know.
I see it all the time. Companies posting with like competitive salary, and they don't put the salary.
No.
And I've kind of found myself, and I can't quite make a decision here. I found myself every time I see one on LinkedIn, I do it occasionally. I'm like, what's the salary? I've got no interest in the job at all. When I see somebody posting it, I look at it, I'm like, what's the salary? And even when I see big companies like Gymshark, I saw Ben Francis sharing one. I'm like, what's the salary? I was like, how do you, it's just such a waste of everybody's
It won't land in the right lap. It won't. Because that person needs to know that they can afford their mortgage
Yeah.
based on that, that role, or that it's too high for them or too low for them or whatever. We push back. We walk away from business that won't advertise salary.
Yeah, and
You won't find any of our jobs without salary on.
But even just where people don't, I just think it's so nonsensical because you're never, like you say, it's not going to land on the right lap. So you're not going to get the right people potentially. You're probably closing off to people, because especially if you're trying to pay a higher salary, you'll turn those people off straight away. And then you'll have loads of people apply that probably won't even make the grade of the role because they don't know what salary is. It's just a waste of time for everybody.
Completely agree. Yeah.
Is the mindset here, from a company perspective, I'm trying to get somebody and pay the least amount as possible, which just seems, again, nonsensical. I want to pay people what it takes to get them to do the job I need to do.
You need to pay a fair rate, yeah.
And there is a market rate, obviously, and so one of the things we found hard in marketing, finding the marketing rate for the level. That is a challenge, and all the other bits that now come with it, which is more remote working, more flexibility, all those aspects, because marketing, very much the more allows that. But I think that, when I see jobs advertised without salaries, I'm like, why wouldn't you post it? Is it because your range is 30 to 40,000 or 40 to 50,000? You're going to get a candidate and go, oh, we think you're 32,000. And therefore you're trying to pay them, 8,000 less than you potentially would pay somebody, even if you think they're worth 40, because you're trying to do a negotiation tactic.
That's kind of the pushback we get. So we get clients that say, well, if you put a salary on, then people are going to want the top end of the salary. But we're like, well, no, actually, we will tell you what that person's looking for. So as you know, we do a write-up and we'll say, this is what you'll get, this is what this person is coming in at. So we have that conversation right at the beginning. And actually, I think the beauty of advertising something with a bit of banding is you do get different levels. So, if you're looking for somebody, marketing manager, for example, you might want somebody earlier in their career who's, not got as much experience, or you might want somebody who, can really hit the ground running in certain areas. So if you put that banding, then you're going to attract both, aren't you? You don't put banding at all, then you don't know who you're going to attract. So it's nonsensical.
Yeah, and I think from a client perspective, one of the interesting things with recruiters is obviously sometimes it's banded on percentage based on salary. So if you're paying 50,000 to a candidate, then you might pay a recruiter, I'll say 5%. I know it's not
absolutely not.
Okay.
Record that, Joe.
If you're recruiting for a salary of 50,000, you might pay a recruiter 10%. But if you're doing a 60,000, you might pay a recruiter 12%. Whereas if you're doing 100,000, you might pay a recruiter 15%. And it absolutely makes sense to me as to why that scales, because the candidate you're looking for is going to be the pool's going to be smaller, and you're probably going to have to be approaching candidates and pulling them out.
It's a different world. I mean, in our business now, I'm trying to work more on the exec side, which is the top level. We've got our fees, and our fees are our fees, and we rarely negotiate. But it's the same service, but like you say, it's a totally different pool, and it's a different process.
And I think that's fine. For me, that's not a challenge. I think for clients outside looking in, whether they make the judgment call and go, oh, well, is the recruiter saying they want more money because that's going to bump their percentage up? Which is the same with estate agents.
Absolutely. They might be.
Trying to get you to, but they're also trying to get a deal. And my experience with estate agents is normally I'm bringing them down more than they're taking me up. And I'm bringing them down, and I know what that percentage is going to bring down. But it's one of those things, and I'm sure we will have them in life. I see a post on LinkedIn about a job ad, and it says competitive salary, or I see the job ad and it doesn't have a salary, and I'm like, it just winds me up so much. For both the company perspective, but also the employee perspective.
No, I get it.
I think I'm going to start just keyboard warring on the whole time.
Shit.
Somebody did send me a message once when I really like the fact that you call companies out. I was like, because I found one of our partners did it, and I was sat there and I was just like, I'm gonna comment on this. But now I can't work with them. And I was like, but hold on, they're not aligned with us anymore because I can you dictate that? Anyway, I'm off.
Shit.
But I think it's just a challenge. But yes, so we're going obviously out on the 19th.
Yes.
Well, that's
black tie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, any excuse to get dressed up. I think going out with Joel's always an experience. Wouldn't you say, George?
Sure.
Yeah. But in fairness, I kind of getting the feeling that going out with you guys is probably an experience.
Oh, it's going to be a fun evening. Yeah. No. Well, Jess isn't there, so Jess is probably. Would you say Jess is the craziest one? Yeah. No, Jess isn't there because it's Father's Day weekend, so she's away. But the rest of us are there.
Okay.
So and my husband is there as well, so we get to meet Gareth.
Yeah.
But no, it'll be a fun evening. It'll be a good table to be part of.
Yeah.
And I'm actually presenting the award, so there'll definitely be Dutch courage before I do that.
I might even look at getting a taxi to collect me.
Oh, bless you.
I say that. I'll ask them. People say, no, just get an Uber. I was like, dude, it's telephone insurance, but we don't have Ubers. So yeah, but I might even look at that. But yeah, definitely looking forward to it and very much appreciate the invite.
No, it's a pleasure. Absolutely.
I think, George, we must be nearly 2 hours.
1:50.
We've chatted away.
Yeah, look, that's absolutely.
Have you got enough content?
Yeah, I don't think you cut it particularly. He'll just put it out and put it top and bottom, off he goes.
I don't think I've said anything too controversial.
No, I think it's fine. I think, I live by that in my life. Again, I can't remember when it was. I'm just never going to lie. I'm just going to tell the truth.
I don't.
And then my daughter says to me, Dad, you've got no filter whatsoever. Even on my recent birthday card, she was just like, for the guy that has no filter, and just cut me just straight out. Yeah, spade's a spade. And yeah,
I think that's probably where we get on, because I'm exactly the same. Just jokes happen. Yeah.
I mean, the realistic is, look, you're always upsetting somebody somewhere. So as long as you're not being mean about it,
you're not too controversial.
Very thanks. But I'll be really interested to see how your journey goes of stepping out the day-to-day. I'm doing exactly the same thing. Our businesses are obviously different, but I think in terms of where we both are as owners and founders of those companies, and ultimately the person at the top is, it's a very different journey. I think. And I'm speaking to somebody next week that's already done it and it's done it for a few years. Yeah. So I'm really interested to see how they've done that. So they're probably 3, 4, maybe even 5 years further on.
Yeah, I think I mean, Kat is now chief brain fart filterer. That's what that is. The words that Tom used. Yeah, I'm not allowed to just dump anymore. Yeah. It has to be just a cat.
Well, they just stuck me up on the top floor out of the way. It's like literally being in the tower.
Oh, bless you.
I like it. It's best view in the house.
You'll have Sam with you from next week.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sam, yeah. So
she's been in a few times, hasn't she? Or she's been chatting to you.
I've spoken. I've spoken to Sam. So Sam, who's
we can cut that. She probably shouldn't have. She said no current job. Sorry, there you go. No filter.
Sam hasn't been in. Sam is.
I know you've had conversations. That's why.
She's been great. She's been like, hey, look, I want to get ahead of the time. Anything you can send me beforehand. Obviously, we've got it all set up and ready to go.
I've got a good vibe.
Her desks are being built tomorrow, so we're moving on to a standing desk. And again, that was a brilliant thing when she first came in. I've got a standing desk in my office, and she came past and she went, standing desk, got a lot of time for that. That's exactly how I speak. I think there was concern from my senior teams. I keep a very, very close team, purposely so, very, very close team around me. And there was concern that Joel was employing this person with no input or no meeting from anybody else in the senior team. And therefore, the dangerous Joel has complete control of who's he employing, and is he just employing another Joel? And there was this kind of like
Laura's employing.
Yeah, exactly. And then when I explained to them, like Sam, they were all like, uh-oh. And I kind of had to sort of then go again and sort of explain it again. I was like, no, this is how it's going to work. But anyway, James has had a conversation with her. It was like, actually, that's going to work really well. But yeah, I liked her approach. And again, I don't think it's out of turn. The first thing she said to James after they met, so James asked the COO who runs our businesses, she turned around and said, right, so what do I need to be aware of from him? Like, what are the problems? What are the challenges? What do you need from me to get from him? And I could just see that. So instant sigh of relief from James was like, no, this is good.
Yeah, no, she literally emptied my head. She's great. To be fair, they did. They were all very thorough.
No, they were, and it was, and I think it was just about who's going to be able to keep at my pace.
Yeah,
but also who's strong enough to challenge me.
Yeah.
And that is a big thing. That must be the same for you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how...
Ellie's great at that.
let me ask you this as the final question. So before George asks me, do you think you're employable still?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. No, not a chance. I drive people mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Kat's getting there. Ellie knows how to handle me.
Yeah.
I need my Ellie moments.
Yeah.
Because I'm literally this idea, and I get very excited. I mean, I know how to focus. You know, I have got that part of my brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, if somebody tried to employ me, I'd question them too much. I'd drive them mad.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same about yourself?
Oh, yeah, I do. I'm speaking to her again in a few weeks. Beginning of the Beth Heath.
You know the name?
Shropshire Festivals, Beth.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Just Beth knows everybody.
Yeah.
Even when I'm the other side of the country, somehow they seem to know Beth. And Beth and I have this conversation all the time because we'd be the greatest employee ever. I'm like, Beth, we'd be the worst employees.
Yes,
ever.
absolutely.
We're kind of the best and the worst because you're completely unemployable. I think that's probably now my why. Is I couldn't work for someone else. So I can't not have my company succeed. Because what would I do?
Yeah.
It's not like I can go get another job. Who's going to employ me?
Yeah, I just drive people mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awful. So I'd be the guy going, right, I work in sales and I want a big commission.
Yeah.
But Laura, thank you very much for coming into jail.
Absolute pleasure. I wore the right outfit.
You did,
I'm
yeah,
in the
you were orange, yeah,
you know,
absolutely,
and an
yeah.
orange cup. So.
You did. And we'll go downstairs. We'll grab some photos of you and the team at Saks. We've got a really cool photo board downstairs. We'll go do that. But yeah, thank you very much. I hope all good.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
No worries.